Let's do this. Does that look good?
Today our boys officially turned 2 weeks old.
2 whole weeks. That's 14 days, and they're still here, alive and well. Actually, they're doing pretty well. So we thought we would celebrate 2 weeks old by sharing 14 thoughts we've had in the 14 days that we've had newborn kids, twins, 2 of them. So number 1, everything is scary. And I don't know if you agree with me, but whether it is spitting up through your nose, or the temperature outside in the stroller, or
the direction they're facing in their stroller.
Yeah, everything is scary. And I talked about anxiety in one of the videos, but it's heightened anxiety just because you want to make sure that you're doing everything right.
Of course, these lives depend on you, and every little up or down, I mean, it just freaks you out. You don't know if it's right or if it's normal or if it's supposed to be the way it's supposed to be.
I think that's a disease that all parents have.
Number 2 is trust your gut. Everything is gonna freak you out, but you gotta go with your intuition. What's your gut telling you? And for us, in that day that we went to emergency, was call someone. Something might not be right, and it turned out to be okay, but we need to just trust our gut.
And that is also true of sounds at night. It's dark, you can't see the kids sleeping. You really learn to just trust that that's a coo, and that's a cough, and that's a fart, but it's not anything more serious than that. Yeah, exactly. Crying is a little easier, but you have nothing but your intuition really until you go to the next level and get an expert's opinion. But you can't be on the phone with an expert all the time, so we've learned that we need to learn how to trust our guts.
And you know, our boys are not fussy. They're not criers, they're not screamers, well, apart from last night. But we really have to interrogate and sort of talk through what their sounds are, because they don't always tell us when they've soiled their diapers, and so it's kind of like a guessing game. Number 3 is managing time. Oh my goodness, I can't even begin to emphasize how little time we actually have. And
that is with a ton of help. Like, my mom is staying with us, her mom's coming over almost every day, bringing food, and there's people here all the time to hold the babies, and yet, no time.
It's not even real life. We're not living real life right now, and yet I'm still struggling to find time. I definitely don't want to spend all my free time doing housework, which there's little to do because of how much help we're getting. Or, I don't know, I get moments to do my hair, and that's about it.
Yeah, and that's more than most people. Look at you. You look awesome. You just have kids. You have kids, bro. But managing time, it's like you have to pick one thing you want to do that's not baby related in the day, and if you get that done, that's a success. And we've managed to do that on a couple days, and we've horribly failed on other days.
I feel like some of my time gets taken away because there's 2 of them, and feeding isn't always happening at the same time. So once I feed one, it's about time to start feeding the other one. So the time in between my feeds is shorter, and like you said, you gotta pick one thing and just go with it.
Yeah, so the one thing today is recording this video. Number 4, priorities change, and for me this has been difficult because I'm a guy who likes to do things a certain way, and I've had to change my priorities. For example, going to bed at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, I always tried to do that. I always tried to get my 8 hours of sleep. I always ate my breakfast before I did anything and made my cup of tea. I always had to do things a certain way for me to feel like I could function during the day, and that has gone totally out the window. I didn't know I could function on this little sleep, and I don't even care anymore. I used to care about having showers and being clean before I went to bed or brushing my teeth. I don't care about that anymore because my priorities have completely changed, and that's in a good way because I put all my time and energy into making sure that those kids get everything they need, and if I can give myself one thing I need in the day, thumbs up. Okay, those are your priorities. Mine is to definitely stay clean, so I do get in my shower every single day. And one of my priorities has now changed to making sure you get a shower every day. That is very much appreciated. Very important. My priorities obviously have changed because I can't do whatever I want whenever I want. And nor do I want to, because I want to give all my energy to these kids and their feeding, which is really important. But sort of organizing things around the house or putting things back exactly the way I want to, I've sort of had to let go, and it's been a bit of a challenge. Yeah, eating healthy was something that I was just like total stickler on before, but priorities change. Like, just get something in you, otherwise you might not be awake, and they might not be awake or get fed. So, you know, if it's fried, that's okay. If it's a bag
feeding,
of chips in the middle of the night, that's okay.
And if it's feeding while they're feeding, that's okay too. Number 5, that smell. Oh my goodness, baby smell is like the best smell in the whole wide world.
Number 6, that smell though. That baby smell, you know, the one that's below the waist. Yeah, it's only gonna get worse. Number 7, speaking of that, waste. It's crazy how much one baby can make in terms of waste. And that's just diapers alone, like 8 to 10 a day for one kid, another 8 to 10. So 20 diapers a day at the height of it for 2 kids. And that's just diapers. We're wasting water by doing laundry and doing dishes. We're wasting electricity by having the heat a little higher than normal, which it's gone back down now. But there's so much waste, and there's so many kids in this world. Like, imagine what we're doing to this planet by having these kids, and hopefully these kids are smart and can fix it in the end.
Number 8, information overload. We've heard countless and contradictory information from a bunch of different people about how to feed, when to feed, how much to feed.
And that's from professionals, semi-pros, and just like regular moms and dads. Like, everyone has their opinion, but it's not always aligned, and that's with the professionals too, which was really surprising to us.
Yeah, that was really surprising that we got different information from the different professionals that we talked to.
Within the same birthing unit.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Within the same birthing unit, the emergency, the pediatrician. They all had something slightly different to say, and it kind of left us guessing a little bit about what the best method is for a bunch of different things.
See number 2, trust your gut.
Number 9 is breastfeeding takes time. Early on, I used to try to rush it because I thought they were frantically searching for food and they were just like, give it to me now. And it kind of stressed me out a little bit, but I've sort of taken on a way more relaxed approach after working with a lactation consultant. It's sort of coaxing them into eating, building a routine that sort of allows them to know that feeding is coming soon so they don't have to freak out about it. And it's gone a lot better.
And also just knowing why we're doing this, like, it's for them to eat, and sometimes breastfeeding just doesn't work and they need to eat, so we're not as stressed out about giving them a bottle of formula if they need it, and knowing that it's one feed in a week of 100 feeds, and it's in the big picture, it's not a huge deal. Just get through that one and move on to the next one.
And no matter how sleep deprived we are, if one feeding takes longer than for them to latch on, then that's okay. And if they don't latch on for very long, that's okay too, because these babies, once they've sort of built a routine about feeding, they'll tell you when they're hungry and when they're not.
Number 10 is sleep deprivation, and it sucks. I totally knew that we were going to be tired. We were both expecting it. We both were okay with it, but that doesn't change how it feels, and it sucks.
Big time.
Yeah.
There's moments in the night where we'll talk to each other about sort of helping each other get one baby up and transferring babies so that we can continue with the feeding.
And it won't be English, and we won't remember it the next day.
And oftentimes we just have to laugh because neither one of us is comprehending what the other one's saying.
It's not possible. Number 11 is managing expectations. And it's kind of like priorities changing, but with priorities changing, you also need to learn how to manage your expectations. And that's been kind of difficult for the both of us. Like you said, keeping things clean around the house and lowering those standards is difficult. But for me, one of the big things about expectations is I have an idea of how I want things to work out, and if they don't work out that way, it can really stress me out and get me down, and I have to manage my expectations, and I have to kind of go into every day not with any expectations in mind, just with every moment being that moment and being a different moment and playing out the way it does. But if I try and plan out my day, even plan out my morning, or even plan out like before I get downstairs in the morning, well, afternoon, not a good plan.
And for me, managing expectations really comes down to feeding, because I spend most of my day feeding, and I've really had to sort of go with the flow, manage my expectations in terms of how well I think things are gonna go, and if they don't go as well as I wanted to, not let it affect me personally in thinking that I'm not doing a good job or I'm not giving them enough food, and it's one feed. And the next feed is going to be entirely different.
And they're doing well, right? The kids are doing well. Number 12, emotional roller coaster, and it has been a crazy up and down ride so far in 2 weeks, and that's only 2 weeks of how long? Who knows? And it's tough. It can be tough, and we haven't talked yet about postpartum depression, but we've both had the baby blues at one point or another in these first 2 weeks, and I'm sure there's going to be more struggles, but like managing expectations and priorities changing, they're all momentary, and if you're able to look at the big picture and know why we're doing this, it gets a little easier, but man, is it an up and down ride.
And it's not hinging all of your feelings of success on one thing, right? It is the big picture. It is over time. It is them, for us, them gaining weight over the 2 weeks and not just in that one moment.
And nothing's perfect, right? So up and down is life, and we got to understand that it's not going to be easy, but it's not always going to be hard. So there are those peaks and valleys.
And even with all the advice that you get, it's just taking it in and absorbing what you want to absorb and doing what you want to do, and then everything else will figure itself out. Number 13, help
is important. Help is extremely important, and we've got a ton of help. With twins, we've realized that if we didn't have help, we'd always be doing something baby related, both of us, because when one's doing one thing, the other one's doing maybe the same thing but with the other baby, or something different with the other baby, and it's just like non-stop at all points of the day. And help is important.
Yeah, because real life still happens. There's still lots of things to do. Dishes, dinners, meals, anything.
Laundry, cleaning, everything. It's real life, and we haven't quite hit it just yet, which is good, but the help we've had has allowed us to relax a little bit, make these videos. I say relax with a completely different definition than what it was before, but at the same time, like it has helped a ton, and we know we're going to continue to get that help in the same ways and in different ways, and we're lucky, but the kids are even luckier.
Yeah, they've had a bunch of people around them also to give them that cuddle time and connection time, but it's really helped us develop a connection with the babies, which is so important, and we might not otherwise have gotten had we had to worry about real life.
And number 14, despite 1 through 13, this is just amazing. It's awesome.
It's everything that I think we've been waiting for our whole lives. He's always wanted a family. I've always wanted to have a family, and it's finally here, and it's amazing.
It is amazing. And speaking of amazing, where are those kids?
Ah!
Do you know where they are?
No.